Hey guys, welcome back to Sheri Approved. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here a while, thank you so much for coming back. I am here today with another sunscreen review video. I have like about 5 sunscreens that we're going to talk about today, and I hope that you guys will enjoy today's video. Today's video includes a mix of different types of sunscreen, some that I like and some that I absolutely don't. As we get in today's video, let me just remind you that I am sharing the experiences I have had with these sunscreens on my skin. I have oily, acne-prone skin. I live in a very humid, tropical climate, so some sunscreens may play a little bit different on my skin type or the environment that I am in versus where you might be living in whichever part of the world, and your skin type as well. But I generally like to talk about skin types, ingredients, so that you can pay attention to what may or may not work for your skin. So I hope that today's reviews again will be helpful to you. I am going to start off today's video with two sunscreens from Misha, which is a very popular Korean brand, and Misha actually has quite a few different sunscreens. They are very popular, and the ones that I'm going to talk about today are actually quite on the more affordable side when it comes to their offer on the market. The first one is this. This is the Misha All Round Safe Block Essence Sunscreen SPF 45 PA+++. As usual, I am going to share with you the claims of the sunscreen, and then we're going to go into the details in terms of the filters and so on, and my own experience with each of these. This one, they say, is strengthened with SPF 45 PA3+ that blocks obviously both UVA and UVB rays. The sunscreen comes in a lightweight, non-sticky formulation that feels refreshing on the skin. It contains apricot, lotus, chrysanthemum, and camellia flower extract to nourish and moisturize your skin, and some other extracts that will provide a soothing and cooling effect on the skin. This sunscreen is water resistant and oil free, and of course, if you saw my introductory video to this entire series, I did explain that there are types of technology that certain sunscreens will use in order to make them water resistant or sebum resistant, different things that is different from just regular sunscreen. So this one is extremely lightweight in terms of the texture. It really feels lotiony. It really absorbs into the skin very quickly. It contains fragrance. The fragrance in this one again is a kind of light floral scent, one that I love and enjoy. It does not bother me. It does not give me a headache. This sunscreen also contains alcohol, but the alcohol is way coming down to the end of the list, so it's much lower in terms of percentage in the product, and again, it's more than likely being used as a solvent to help the viscosity or help that lightness of the sunscreen. According to the ingredients, this one has a ton of antioxidants and of course a soothing and a calming effect on the skin. Now, they actually have this listed as recommended for normal to dry skin. What surprised me though is that I had quite a few of my clients telling me that they are enjoying the sunscreen and they are actually combo to oily, which is why I decided to try this sunscreen. Now, this one is a completely all chemical filter sunscreen. Again, one of the sunscreens that have been around for quite a few years, but I actually avoided using it because of those filters. The interesting thing is that the filters are a mix of both older chemical filters that we've been accustomed to and some of these newer, more stable ones that are being used in sunscreens. So I actually did try it out. I absolutely agree with the claims in terms of it being very lightweight, absorbs quickly. There is zero white cast from the sunscreen on my skin, as you will see, again, because it is an all chemical filter sunscreen. This one does absorb nicely. Like when I first apply it, it has a very natural look on my skin. However, I do find as the day progresses that my oils will come through with this sunscreen more than, for example, let's say another natural finish sunscreen like the TM that I absolutely love. Yeah, but it could be in terms of how it's reacting with my skin, because I have a lot of people who are combination oily that tell me they absolutely love the sunscreen, but it is super lightweight. It feels like nothing on the skin. You could probably get away with this one, I guess, without moisturizer if you have oily skin. I do apply this one on top of moisturizer, but yeah, this one is a chemical sunscreen that does not irritate my skin, irritate my eyes. It does not burn at all, and I absolutely like it, and I will finish my tube. The next sunscreen is also by Misha, and this one is the All Round Safe Aqua Sun Gel, the SPF 50 PA+++++. Now this one again is described as being SPF 50 PA4+, that blocks again both UVA and UVB rays. But this one they say is a lightweight, non-sticky gel formulation that feels refreshing on the skin. It contains ingredients like this: ice plant, glacial water, green tea, some rose extracts to refresh, moisturize, and reduce blemishes on the skin. And of course, this one is not only water resistant, again because of that technology that Misha is using in these sunscreens, but this one is also said to be sweat resistant. Something that I want to mention about these both Misha sunscreens is that when you get your tube, if you hold it up in the light, you're going to notice that it is about half full. That doesn't mean that you're not getting the product that you should get. Both of these carry 50 ml. You are getting the product, or the amount of product that you should be getting in the tube. They have actually said that because of the packaging and so on, and because products have to be shipped, they have only half filled the tube, but you do have the amount of product in there. So don't get worried, don't think your product evaporated, don't think that you didn't get all your product and so on. I just wanted to make note of that because I've seen comments about that a lot of places all over the internet. So the previous one is the All Round Safe Block Essence. This one is the All Round Safe Sun Gel. And there are a couple of differences between them besides the SPF and the PA rating being higher in this one. This one is actually fragrance free and essential oil free, whereas the other one does contain some fragrance. However, while the alcohol content in the previous one is much lower in the ingredients list, the alcohol content in this one is much higher. So that just means that this one has a higher percentage of alcohol in the formulation. Thing is though, I feel like I do get some type of fragrance from this, or some type of scent. It could just be from the sunscreen filters because there's no added fragrance, but just to keep that in mind. This one, however, is designed for people with combination to oily skin, and again, it could be because of that higher alcohol content. That's why this one is formulated that way. This one, when you apply it, does have a cooling sensation on the skin, like you cannot miss it. So if you live in a very hot climate, that might actually be a really nice feature for you. In terms of the texture and the application, they feel very, very similar. This one feels ever so slightly a little bit lighter. They both absorb really, really quickly. And again, this one is also an all chemical filter sunscreen, so there is going to be no white cast on your skin. This one, however, includes a lot more older chemical filters in combination with newer ones, but the list is a little bit longer. Now, the only reason I tried this sunscreen is because I was actually looking for an affordable recommendation for sunscreen for people who might have fungal acne, and this one is actually listed as being fungal acne safe. You would be surprised how difficult it is to find a fungal acne safe sunscreen, and products in general. It could be quite challenging. So this one is fungal acne safe, and I wanted to mention that. So that's why I actually decided to test the sunscreen in order to, be able to give my recommendation on it. When I first applied this, I was so freaking impressed in terms of how it felt on my skin, the application, how it looked. It felt like nothing. So lightweight. I actually ran out and I told my husband, I told my sister, I was like, this is it. I was telling them, and I cannot believe that the sunscreen has been around for so long and I never tried it, obviously because it was an all chemical filter sunscreen. And I was like, my goodness, my skin feels so good. It is working great for me. I was just raving about how much I was loving that sunscreen within the first 10 minutes in terms of how my skin felt, how it looked, the application, everything. And I was like, my goodness, my eyes are doing well, my skin doesn't feel any weird way and all of that. So I was so excited. Fast forward to like 45 minutes later, and then I was like, oh my god, what is going on with my face? What is going on with my eyes? And for whatever reason, I did not think it was the sunscreen. Maybe because I was so head over heels impressed and in love with what had happened and how excited I was. I don't know why I did not think about it. And as time went on, like 5 minutes later, 10-15 minutes later, half an hour, I'm like, oh my goodness, this feeling and this sensation is increasing. What is wrong? Then I was just like, okay, I know this one is an all chemical sunscreen, but I've been doing okay. I did not think to check the filters. This one has avobenzone, and that's one of the regular chemical filters that my skin absolutely hates. It always creates irritation and stinging for me, and I was just like, Sheri, why did you do yourself this? I did not even think to read the filters. I was just going crazy trying, sunscreens and so on. I did not think to read the filters. And yeah, so that was my experience. But I'm saying that to say this, there are a lot of people who use avobenzone with no problems at all. In fact, that's why so many sunscreens, like so many regular sunscreens on the market, especially a lot of US brands, have avobenzone in them. And there are people who absolutely cannot tolerate it, and that's why they move over to mineral sunscreens. That's one of those ingredients that create the issues. And then there are people who have no issues at all. So if you're somebody with no issues at all, you might absolutely love this if you have combination oily skin. I'm telling you, I loved how it felt, how it looked, and all of that. But sorry, that one is not for me. I will finish it on my body, but I cannot put it on my face. Is anybody else seeing this fly that is just buzzing around in this entire video, annoying me? The next one is a reformulation of one of my favorite sunscreens, and this is by Benton. This is their Skin Fit Mineral Sun Cream, and of course, as the name says, you will realize already that this one is a mineral sunscreen, a physical sunscreen. This one is SPF 50 PA4 pluses, and let me tell you what they say about this one. They said that this sunscreen is formulated with witch hazel extract to offer nutrition and promote elasticity, centella asiatica to restore the skin's oil-water balance, calamine to soothe and protect the skin, and zinc oxide to reflect UV rays. It offers brightening and wrinkle care effects. It is lightweight, non-sticky, and they say that it does not leave a white cast, and it is made for free of artificial fragrances, making it suitable for sensitive skin. A couple things that I want to say is that I was so super excited to try this one, because this one, which is their previous formula, the Benton Mineral Sun Cream, again, this one was SPF 50 as well, was one of my favorite mineral sunscreens. This one worked beautifully on my brown skin, on my oily skin. I have gone through multiple tubes of this one. I really loved this sunscreen, but this one was pulled from the market, and this one was their new release. Now, they say that this is recommended for people with sensitivities to chemical filters. Obviously, they say that it is free of artificial fragrance. It is important to mention that they have put rosemary extract in the sunscreen. You can obviously smell it. It does not bother me. I find it dissipates really quickly, but you can absolutely get that rosemary scent as soon as you apply the sunscreen. So if you don't like that, or if you don't like that scent, this is not going to be for you. It is alcohol free as well. When I first got the sunscreen and I started the application, I was like, okay, it is taking a little bit longer to blend in versus the previous formula, but it was still pretty lightweight. There was nice movement to it on the skin, and I was actually able to get it to blend in enough. There was like a slight white cast, but very doable. I mean, I'm okay with a very slight white cast because I will either wear makeup on top of that, or I will use those at home. And of course, because I prefer mineral filters, you know, no worries there. And I was okay with the final look. The issue came with wear. Like, as soon as the oils on the skin starts to come through and you start to sweat and so on, those white lines were everywhere. Like, you could see it in my eye creases, you could see it on my neck. And I actually did a side-by-side view of this particular sunscreen versus the previous one so that you can absolutely see the difference. This new one absolutely does not work in my climate at all. I cannot deal with the way that looks with wear. And the thing about it is, this is not even after a few hours. This is like within 15-30 minutes. This tends to happen on my skin. So this one is an absolute no. I don't know why they reformulated this one. So this one will be a mineral sunscreen that I will finish, but if you live in a climate like mine, I would not necessarily recommend it. Perhaps if you are in a drier climate and you do have oily skin where you may not be sweating as much, it might work for you. Definitely, if you are fairer than me as well, the white cast on this will not show up on your skin the way it did on mine. So it might be something that you could look at. If you're my skin tone or darker, forget it. While we're talking about Benton, one of my friends in Korea told me that her absolute favorite sunscreen was the new chemical filter sunscreen that Benton brought out when they brought out the new reformulation of the mineral sunscreen. And that's this one. This one is the Benton Airfit UV Defense Sun Cream. This one again is SPF 50 PA4 pluses. This one is said to be coming in a lightweight, highly blendable formula. It is a chemical sunscreen, of course, and it is clinically tested to fend off UV rays while leaving zero white cast, which we will expect because they are chemical filters. It has a brew of skin soothers, including cica extract, panthenol, licorice root for brightening, and tocopherol, which is vitamin E, to keep your skin in tip-top condition. This one has a blend completely of newer chemical filters, so I was very happy about that. In fact, the last one that's on the list, called Uvasorb HEB, there is something that was very interesting about that particular filter that stood out to me, because in general, sunscreen filters are considered photostable because they are able to stay stable for at least 2 hours. This one loses only 10% of its protective abilities in a 24-hour period. I mean, that's amazing. We're literally talking about next level sunscreen filters here. Now, this one I actually enjoyed a little bit more than the mineral sunscreen, because again, this one had no white cast. It looks beautiful on my skin. It is lightweight. It blends into the skin really nicely. This one has a more natural to dewy finish on the skin, depending on the time of the month that I actually use this, because of that little bit of extra satiny look on the skin, which I can absolutely get away with because it's not greasy, it's not oily, and my skin wears this one pretty well during the day. But if I use this during that last week, like just before my period, when my skin is actually producing a little bit more sebum, this one might be a little bit too much. So I tend to reach for this sunscreen during the first 2 weeks of my menstrual cycle, when the skin is not as oily, and it performs stellarly. The only issue I have with this particular sunscreen, again, they've put the rosemary extract in here, and for some reason I feel like I smell it a little bit more in this one. But I mean, it dissipates after. I feel like that scent might be overwhelming me for a couple of minutes. It goes and I'm fine after that. But it's important for me to mention that just in case, you know, again, that rosemary extract scent might be a bit of an issue for some people. Besides that, though, this one is a great sunscreen, and I recommend this one definitely. If you have normal skin, this would be fantastic for your combination. Even dry skin, because there are some moisturizing agents in this one. It wears beautifully on the skin. Finally, if you have been following my Instagram stories, this is the one that I sneak peek. There was a horrible white cast. It was spilling. It was all in my hairline, and I was telling you guys that there are some sunscreens you could probably just avoid, and it's this one. Some of you are going to be like, what? Because this tube looks almost exactly the same as this tube. So these are from Some by Me. This one, which is the older one, is their True Cica Mineral 100 Calming Sun Cream. This again was a mineral sunscreen that worked beautifully and amazingly on my skin. In fact, I have been through more tubes of this one than the Benton mineral sunscreen. I love this, and I actually have just a little bit in here, and I decided to not use it all because I was keeping it to be able to do the comparison for myself and to be able to let you guys know. So they launched this one last year, and this is the True Cica Mineral Calming Tone Up Sunscreen. This is SPF 50 plus, PA4 pluses, and this sunscreen in general, like the True Cica Mineral Sun Cream, was so well loved by many people. Like everybody was just sitting with bated breath waiting for the re-release of the updated version of this sunscreen. And as soon as it came out and I saw the name, because now it's not just mineral calming, but they say tone up, that's immediately a red flag if you are a person with skin of color. That means that there is going to be some type of agent in there that, even though they say it's not going to leave a white cast, it's probably going to blend in and be more like a foundation or a BB cream kind of look on fairer skin tones. And if it's going to be able to do that on their skin tones and they are much lighter than I am, that's legit going to give me a white cast. Now, I said all that without telling you what were the claims of the sunscreen. So they say it is a reef-friendly sunscreen that creates a shield to protect the skin from UVA and UVB rays without leaving a white cast. That is not a universal statement. They say that it contains Some by Me's signature ingredient, True Cica and aloe vera extract. So there are ingredients in here, of course, Centella asiatica. It has tea tree leaf water, has niacinamide, resveratrol, an amazing antioxidant. This one does have things like lavender and limonene, which is what gives it the scent. So there are essential oils in here. If that's an issue for you, you want to avoid that. This one is alcohol free. Yeah, for people who are trying to avoid alcohol in their sunscreen products. And again, this one is an all mineral filter sunscreen. So it has both zinc oxide and it has titanium dioxide as well. Now let's talk about the things that I do like about this sunscreen. Just like the previous one, it does have a soft matte finish on the skin. It's perfect for people with combination oily skin. Everything else about the sunscreen, I hate. That's all I really have to say. Yeah, so as you can see from that demo, this one does not look good on me at all. This tone up thing is never a good idea. I actually avoid sunscreens that say tone up on it because I could put my head on a block 99.9% for sure that it is going to have a white cast on my skin tone. And that's exactly what happens. Not only that, but this one, it was much more difficult to blend into my hairline. Generally, you find like with mineral-based sunscreens, sometimes, you can have pilling at the hairline or issues to blend it in because of the little bit of white cast, because again of the filters. This one was much more difficult than the experiences that I've had with other mineral sunscreens in the past. So yeah, I will include the roundup of today's sunscreens. And we've come to the end of this video. Have you tried any of these? Do any of these look like it might be the sunscreen for you? I'd love to hear about it in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in another sunscreen review video soon. Please take care. Bye.